Marvel 101 – The Infinity Stones Explained. The Infinity Stones were 6 powerful gems tied to different aspects of the universe, created by the Big Bang from 6 singularities. Only creatures with immense power can wield the stones, such as Celestials or Thanos. Beings who can't handle their powers would face the consequences. Johann Schmidt, also known as Red Skull, was cursed to Vormir to guard the Soul Stone. Jane Foster, Thor's love interest Anna Valkyria, became ill after being exposed to the ether, and Karina, a Tanalir's slave, exploded when she touched the Power Stone. It is also possible to place an Infinity Stone inside a container to allow the user to wield the stone's power without suffering the normal repercussions, like the Tesseract, the Scepter, or Vision's forehead. When Thanos successfully collected all of them, he used the stone's power to reduce humanity to atoms. However, 5 years later, the Avengers traveled back in time to retrieve the stones from alternate timelines to resurrect the victims of the snap. However, Thanos wasn't the first one who wanted to use the stone's powers for his benefit. In the distant past, the Power Stone was used by the Celestials as a means of placing judgment upon worlds and their populaces, wiping out entire civilizations by touching its power on the planet's surface. And during the first Dark Elf conflict, Malekith, the leader of the Dark Elves, sought to use the ether to revert the universe to its prior state of eternal darkness, re-cementing his kind as the most dominant race in the universe. Even if they were created at the same time during the Big Bang, each stone has traveled to a different place, and they have different stories once they reach their last location. Space Stone. The Tesseract is named for its cube-like appearance and is capable of controlling space itself, providing the user instant access to any location throughout the universe if used correctly. Hydra, S.H.I.E.L.D., Loki, or Odin are some of its previous owners before Thanos or the Avengers. The unique element that composes the Tesseract has also been used to create advanced weaponry by races like the humans. It's later revealed that a cube is a containment unit built around the actual Infinity Stone so that it could be somewhat safely handled and controlled. Despite such protection, touching the Tesseract barehanded can still have dire consequences, as seen with Red Skull, who was punished for abusing its power for his gain. Thanos later acquired the Tesseract from Loki, who'd saved it from Asgard's destruction. With only his bare hand, Thanos crushed the Tesseract and extracted the Space Stone within before he inserted it into the Infinity Gauntlet. Mind Stone. The Scepter was a weapon that utilized the Mind Stone housed inside a blue computer module, which also masked the stone's presence. Stark originally saw the stone as a power source, whereas once Jarvis had the opportunity to study the stone, he stated it was more akin to a very powerful computer. The stone was said to greatly increase the intelligence of those capable of wielding it, as shown in the cases of Loki and Wolfgang von Strucker. When Loki failed in his campaign to conquer the Earth, the scepter fell into the possession of S.H.I.E.L.D., eventually being passed on to Hydra via sleeper agents. The protective casing of the scepter's gem was eventually broken by Ultron, and the contained stone was used to bring life to Vision. Thor later entrusted the stone to Vision, stating that Vision was worthy and that safety was hard to come by nowadays. Despite being a part of him, the stone's origin was a mystery for Vision, and he wished to understand it so he could control it. The Mind Stone was the last stone Thanos would acquire, which he forcibly removed from Vision, killing him. Reality Stone. The ether acts as a symbiotic force, capable of being absorbed into the body of a living host, giving the user the ability to warp reality at will, granting that person a subjective influence over the universe. Malekith planned to use the ether's reality-bending abilities to cover all 9 realms in darkness. However, he was stopped by the combined efforts of Thor and Jane Foster. Jane Foster and Malekith are known to have been the only hosts for the ether, but circumstances prevented the full extent of the ether's potential from being exploited. It's later shown that the ether is an Infinity Stone contained in a liquid form. The ether is given to the collector by Thor's companions, Sif and Volstagg, and later seized by Thanos, who solidified it into the Reality Stone. Power Stone. The Power Stone is an incredible power source. It increases the user's physical abilities and allows it to manipulate energy. It has enough power to obliterate an entire planet when unleashed. This stone was sought by Thanos, who tasked Ronan the Accuser to acquire it from the dead planet of Morag in exchange for destroying Xandar. However, Star-Lord acquired the stone first through the orb he stole and was prepared to sell it to Tanalir Tivan with Gamora until its destructive power was unleashed at nowhere. Ronan obtained it and harnessed its energy with the intent of destroying all life on Xandar and killing Thanos. Star-Lord and the Guardians of the Galaxy were able to take the stone from Ronan and collectively harness its power to destroy him. They then gave the stone to Nova Prime Irani Rael for safekeeping on Xandar. However, Thanos wiped out the Nova Corps and acquired the Power Stone. Time Stone. The Eye of Agamotto is an ancient artifact created by Agamotto, the first Sorcerer Supreme, presumably to contain and harness the power of the Time Stone. After being stored for an unknown amount of time on a pedestal in Kamar-Taj, it was recently wielded by Doctor Strange, first to aid him in his learning of sorcery, then in his final fight against Caecilius and Dormammu. When wielded by someone having the necessary knowledge and skills, it appeared to be able to control the flow of time, be it on a small or massive scale, notably to turn back something to a previous state or to lock it in a time loop. It was noted by Wong and Carl Mordo that the use of the eye was contrary to the natural order of things and extremely dangerous. With Wong's approval, it was placed back on its pedestal by Strange until he learned how to properly harness its powers. Strange wore it once again while meeting with Thor and Loki. Strange was forced to later surrender the stone to Thanos to save Tony Stark's life. Soul Stone. Gamora knew of the location of the Soul Stone from a map she found to its whereabouts, but kept this a secret from Thanos. Once captured and interrogated by her father, who tortured Gamora's sister Nebula, he took her to its holding place on Vormir, where Red Skull, the Soul Stone's guardian, told them that it could only be accessed after a sacrifice of a loved one. Thanos sacrificed his daughter, Gamora, and later woke up with the Soul Stone in his hand. Sooner or later, many of Marvel's best-known characters have had the stones in their possession before Thanos. In the comics, the stones were originally referred to as Soul Gems before Thanos decided Infinity Gems was a more appropriate name, and were recreated after Secret Wars ended and the Marvel Universe was restored, with the Reality Gem appearing in the extra-dimensional Weird World. As of 2015's comic event Secret Wars, there's now a newly created 7th gem, the Death Gem, able to instantly kill anything. It's yellow like the Reality Gem, but it was created to be a decoy for it, and it was used on Thanos by its creator, Anwen Bakian. In another universe, called the Ultraverse in the comics, there's a 7th gem in the mainstream comics called the Ego Gem, which is gold in color, and when combined with the other stones, it would summon the Nemesis, a cosmic being that harnesses the power of all 6 Infinity Gems. The Infinity Stones lore is quite extensive, but it's very curious since it connects each story of the heroes up to their meeting in Infinity War, which seems occasional, but their fate of meeting and cooperating has been woven very carefully over years of adventures. Infinity War is one of my favorite Marvel moments since it shows everything has a reason to be, and I love seeing my favorite heroes together. Did you like the movie, or did you prefer the comics? Let us know in the comments.